Hey folks, how you all doing? This is Con Over coming to you with another Company of Heroes 2 1v1. This one I saw on the ladder and I had to grab it up. It is on the map Colony Fairmount. Over here with this wildly shaking screen is the blue trunked forces of HighFive. He is playing the OKW and spawning over to the east. His opponent is a name we know and love from the community for Company of Heroes 2. It is Tightrope of Tightrope Gaming. He is playing the red trunked forces of the Soviets. And he's very, very quickly building a special rifle company. Not a common thing to open up most of your Soviet play, but he's going to do it, and he's going to go and start building out his penal battalion troops. Meantime, HighFive is instead going to go for himself a two Volks opening, probably followed by a Kubelwagen, looking to have that early firepower out on the map. Before I get too much further, of course, let's take a quick look at commanders. Well, HighFive seems to be pretty standard with his material. He's got Elite Armor Doctrine, Luftwaffe Ground Forces, and Scavenge Doctrine. Meanwhile, the Soviets, for their part, a little bit less common. Soviet Reserve Army. Kind of interesting. We don't often see this one. It's just not commonly seen. Let's just put it that way. Mechanized support is a little bit more often seen. And finally, guard motor coordination tactics. Kind of the bread and butter of most Soviet troops these days. But alright, while this game is kind of getting going here, I'm actually just going to go up early in the week for me. I'm doing this actually over the weekend, so it's going to go up early in the week. So guys, keep an eye out. I'm going to try something a little bit different, post up an indie game for the next couple of days, probably after this, called Renowned Explorers. Fantastic game, kind of a cross between Curious Expedition, FTL, the Faster Than Light, and what was the last one? Oh, Skyshine's Bedlam. So if you played any of those three games, it's definitely worth checking out. It's kind of a humorous game, if nothing else. But yeah, there's a lot of community challenges going on with that particular game. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, also keep an eye out. We are establishing the rules for the Europa Universalis 4 multiplayer match that we're going to be doing. That's going to be recorded and posted over the given weeks as we kind of move forward with that as well. In response to the Rights of Man new patch that's coming out, the big patch coming out. But perhaps we should focus a little bit more on this particular game. Sturmpires have done a fair amount of capping, and the Germans have already gotten their fuel into supply, but as have the Soviets. Now my question is, the Soviets are banking a lot of manpower right now. Does that mean he's going to go for a sniper squad? No, he's not. He was just on top of it. He could have gone for it if he wanted to. But instead he kind of pulls back, instead soft retreat back behind the church. In the meantime, though, they have gotten their munitions pretty much boosted, and we're starting to see the battle lines actually start to meet up with each other in the center part of the map. I don't know necessarily if this is the greatest build out of both players, but it could be interesting to see. Combat engineers moving around to take the southern VP. Germans have the middle one, and they're going to get to grab the north one pretty much without any kind of issue whatsoever. These penal battalion troops over here are trying desperately to take down this wire with rifles, and somehow managed to do so. Must be really snipers on that particular squad. And finally we see a really true first engagement between the two forces. The Volks Grenadiers stacking up against the penal battalion troops. But in cover, those penal battalion guys are going to be pretty effective, and you're going to see the Volks take a fair amount of losses already. Down in the south, the Germans are going to go and try to continue to cap out these points. Ooh, my gosh, who's taking all that firepower? Where's those Sturmpires? Oh no, here they are. Okay, so Sturmpires going to come up to try to support their Volks brethren, but it's not going to happen too easily. Instead, they take so much firepower and rifles from charging forwards that it's kind of a brutal losses going on here. 500 to 485. We're going to see a 2-0 cap for a few seconds, but then it's going to be a Soviet 2-1 cap yet again. Well, rather, Soviets taking another single point. For their part, Tightrope has already gotten the Germans kind of on the back foot here. Germans have a very early Raketen, even though there's absolutely no way the Soviets would have any kind of armored vehicle out on the map. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with a Raketen being that fast. I mean, even a T-70 is going to take longer than what's going on here. And it seems that Tightrope has no concern about really even going for early vehicles. HighFive, on the other hand, he looks like he's probably going to bring out, if I had to guess, maybe the mechanized regiment. Jizz, perhaps. Find out what that is when it goes down. Penal battalion troops again lining up against these Volksgrens, and you're gonna see. Oh no, it's a battle group headquarters. How about that? I guess it makes a little more sense at the moment. Getting AA half track might be a good stopgap measure for the time being. With the Raketen there to kind of what's the term I'm looking for here? Balance out any kind of real early counters to the AA half track. But tightrope has managed to get himself both fuel points, as it turns out. One of them's not connected, so there's not going to be a whole lot of usage right there immediately. Nevertheless, having that is always a good early boon. We're going to see the Peanut Battalion troops come under fire from a ton of Volksgrens and Sturmpyos, get that squad getting hammered, and Vanya and Misha over there are going to bolt back to base. But it gives a lot of other time for their brethren, to really be taking back the map. Center VP is going to get decapped. It's going to be a trip cap over for tightrope for a few seconds. This particular squad of Peanut Battalion troops has decapped and is now trying to cap out the munitions point. Never mind, there they go. They're running away. They scare jackrabbits, they are. And, yeah, HighFive might be getting a little bit of a sucker punch on this one. He's got a fair amount of troops on the map, but they don't seem to be able to establish any kind of local supremacy, something that is, picked up a lot as the German, especially OKW players, they have a lot of issue with it. And it's not entirely unfair to say. I mean, the Volksgrens themselves, even though they do have the ability to go up to 5 stars in veterancy, they tend to get hammered pretty bad by anything with a pulse in the early game. Save maybe perhaps combat engineers. The Peanut Battalion troops, those are SVT 40s looks like. I'm not going to give those guys any kind of terrible Mosin Nagants. No SVTs, semi-automatic rifles throwing their shots over at the Germans, and those guys really only have K98s, I believe. Let's just take a quick look at that. Yeah, those are beautiful K98s, those are. 458 to 470, that 2-to-1 cap for the Soviets, it'll drop back again, although it seems that tightrope is not pleased with just kind of keeping anything in a single position for his opponent. Immediately as soon as his German, just say his German counterpart takes a territory, he seems to be taking it back on a different part of the map here. We are going to see the Peanut Battalion troops squaring off against Sturmpyos and Volksgrens with a very, very opportunistic MG34 sliding up. And while that guy is going to be able to suppress both squads of Peanut Battalion troops, I'm going to be too concerned about this. He's been able to actually now slide around and make it so he's not going to have both squads get suppressed. Excellent, excellent awareness right there. Something you should always kind of try to do as players, especially when early support weapons like machine guns do come out. Now, garrison usage over here for HighFive might not be the best idea because these Peanut Battalion troops do have super, super cheap satchel charges, and that low structure will only take, I think, one of them at absolute best. The drain is gone, by the way. The Soviets have decapped the center VP. They're sliding up to try to cut off some of these Volksgrens and might even be able to take out another model or two. No, instead that MG34 is going to get in behind them, and we'll be able to just barely have them on the firing arc. It's just barely. The last part of that squad's just barely in there. But now the Soviets have cut off a good portion of the German supply line here. And indeed, actually, the entire northern position is not being utilized at all now. This munition point is going to be capped out by the Soviets and controlled rather quickly. We are going to see combat engineers are thought very, very briefly about putting down some mines, and I think better of it. And a T-70 is coming up on the map to try to deal with these machine guns, and maybe, just maybe, that's why HighFive built that early Raketten. But taking a look at the timeline right about now, and geez, it's been, almost twice as long before you really need to have that Raketten on the field. For allies, on the other hand, it's generally a little bit more concerning to actually have that super, super early anti-tank capability. Germans not quite as much. I mean, if the Wehrmacht 222 was definitely an opportunity here, so is a half-track. But even then, you have your own particular avenues of suppressing that kind of soft AT. Peanut Battalion troops sliding it around behind this machine gun, and this Volksgren squad is just going to barely make it away in time before the satchel charge goes off. So tightrope using his munitions rather aggressively, and he can honestly support it quite a bit. And it's just sniping these Volksgrens off over here, and this Raketten is nowhere to be found. I think it's way too up to the north. Yes, it is. It is way, way, way out of position. 440 to 460. So the Germans do have themselves back in a fuel supply and are able to take this munitions point and do have a 2-to-1 cap as well. So he has a soft control of the map. It's pretty much a 50-50 split. And frankly, if these machine guns get cut off at all, they are doomed, my friend. Doomed indeed. Imagine now that we have the machine gun opening up, the T-70 is going to rock and sock, turn around and start shooting at with MG34. Even then, tightrope's troops, it's a very, very small roster. He has been able to kind of keep a lot of map control, just 5 squads, really. And the Rocket Riffer is now starting to fire at him. So one more shot will probably take him out, though. Will it? No, it won't. He's going to make it away just in time. Sliding out of there, dipping and diving. Popping that crew repair. So expensive, to be sure, but it's definitely worth it for him. 2-1 Cap, though, in the meantime, has come back out, and another combat engineer squad is coming out for the Soviets, so it appears he's very concerned about early mine play from HighFive, and rightfully so. A lot of mines that have been put out there, well, attempted mines anyway, have gone out from the German player. And this Sturmpio squad is going to want to really get out of there soon. Unluckily for them, they have to run past 2 squads Penal Battalion troops. And while that may not do a ton of damage necessarily, in the long run, especially when the move has negative cover, that's going to be bad. It's going to be equally bad for this squad of Volksgrunts who think they're actually in cover, but no, they're in negative cover right now. That is going to be a shooting gallery. It's like a turkey shoot for those Soviets. The Volksgrunts are not in cover. The Soviets are. That's brutal. Losing 60% of their health in about 5 seconds in 2 models. The Germans, for their own part, are going to try to slide around to the north, insert themselves in this gap, perhaps, to cut off maybe a combat engineer squad or 2. And we actually have seen that tightrope has called in. It's going to be a Soviet Reserve Army. He has now been able to bring in conscripts with PPSs. Now, that'd be great if he ever actually had any conscript squads, but he doesn't, and that's a problem. Now, the second Raketin on the map as well, that T-70 may not be long for this world, especially with any kind of line of sight. There's the first shot coming out on him. He does push back 1 machine gun, and pushes back the T-70 is pushed back in turn, though. But it is also worth noting that this, squad, Penal Battalion squad, is now in a god house on this map. Incendiary grenade does come out, force them out of the particular house and into the open. These guys might want to get out of there right now. Somehow that Rakettenwerfer is able to pick off a model, too. Not sure how that happened. And shockingly, there's still been no first blood on this map. 2-1 Cap, though, for the Soviets, 4-1-1 to 4-5-3. What can HighFive do in response to this? Of course, he doesn't know necessarily what commander his opponent has chosen. And this Penal Battalion troop is going to get slaughtered. STGs should be able to pick off at least 2 models in the retreat. No, but they don't stand and shoot. Instead, they just kind of keep moving. Going to definitely reduce the accuracy they give out there. Now, this is kind of an interesting ability, and this is always such a timely kind of thing. If you can successfully use it, it's perfect. So for 2 minutes, honestly, any single time he loses 6 squads, he can get PPS, or he can get conscripts for free. Now, the big problem with that is that it requires him to lose, first of all, 6 guys to get a squad, and second of all, that it's not super easy to have your opponent engage you, because the second your opponent sees, hey, look, there's a... Excuse me, wow, I'm going like crazy right now. Anytime that your opponent sees a little reticle over top of your head, it kind of screams, you know, come at me, bro, I'm ready to take this. And your opponent's not going to give you free troops. I mean, he's going to take models off to be sure, but why would you want to do that? More mines are going to go down, though. Shoot mine over here to the left. And this Sturmpio squad's like, oh, hey, never mind, don't want to go out there. My bad. Back away. Mortar in the middle of the map. Going to be able to get some good supporting fire pretty much any direction they want to. Going to rotate that, start dropping rounds on top of that MG34, I imagine. And maybe they should be able to force it back. It depends on how those first couple of rounds impact. And when there's a Rakettenwerfer right on top of it, it's also a good position to drop those rounds. Okay, yeah, taking on 2 models right there. Penal Battalion troops in the meantime are trying to be posted here to really keep troops away, enemy troops away from that mortar squad. And the STGs by themselves are going to do pretty well. Incendiary grenade coming down the mortar. We'll see the mortar cooked and booked back into base. Now in the north, what's going on over here? We see a big fight actually going on. MG34 putting some fire down on top of this garrison. And it seems as T-70 is a little bit nervous to engage. You can't blame him though either. I'm sure he's seen that Schwerer Panzer headquarters over there to the west. And that Schwerer Panzer headquarters will chew through pretty much anything currently on the field for the Soviets in about 5 seconds. Now it would be fun to see a 152 howitzer put on the field. I would love to see that. I don't know exactly how much it costs. I've never been able to really, purchase it myself. I don't actually have the Soviet Reserve Commander myself, but it always is humorous for me to watch. Oh, good lord! One of the Raketans got decrewed. Giant mistake right there. But it'd be kind of fun to see just that howitzer lobbing shells from across the map. It is a 2-0 cap, excuse me, for the Germans. They do have that center position locked down because of that machine gun. Huge firing arc. The question is, are they going to recrew? Yes, they are. That'd be a good idea. No, why? HighFive, recrew the gun, my friend. There we go. He's not recruiting still. Why is he not recruiting? That is a mistake. T-70 in the meantime says, oh look, some people I can shoot at for absolutely no cost. And it appears that HighFive is going for the scavenge doctrine. He's got those basically special operation grenades. And coupled with an ISG and the Raketenwerfer, there's now a very, very effective holding position in the middle part of this map. Of course, it assumes the mortar does not take him out. Rapid conscription has been procced. So for the next 2 minutes, any Soviet squads that get lost, we'll see them replaced by conscripts. And honestly, with the ability to get PPSs now too, that'd be an excellent, excellent opportunity for tightrope to get some really, really close range firepower back on the fray. Now, it is worth noting right now that he has teched up the entire way. He's got everything in his base. He's got the whole support weapon compania, he's got mechanized armor, he's got tank heavy battalion. He is locked and loaded. Now, HighFive, for his part, he's only got 2 of his trucks. He's not going to bring in the mechanized regiment headquarters. You can't really blame him on that one either. And a Katyusha is going to be called in. Yeah, little Katya is going to be unleashing her rage upon this map. And frankly, as long as he can keep it out of direct fire, shouldn't be too hard, 'cause I'm pretty sure that he's not going to be able to slide forward with a Raketenwerfer, completely. That should be an excellent, excellent chance for him to take out AT guns, machine guns, and frankly, take out this headquarters, with a couple of barrages. Mortar, in the meantime, is still hanging out in the middle part of the field. He has gotten 7 kills on his side already, and I don't know how big that parachute flare thing is. Good gosh, it's probably a pretty fair distance. We are going to see that a 2-0 cap will be replaced by a 1-1 because the Germans can't hold it, but neither can the Soviets. And conscripts on the map as well. Are they just chilling? They're just chilling back at base. Where's the other dude? He's chilling up here sort of by the front. We'll see. Now, this Katyusha has a perfect first opportunity for its fray to unleash its deadly payload. The question is whether or not will it. Because were I him, I'd be turning and burning for the north. But instead, it seems like he's probably going to fire. No, is he? Yes, no, no. Firing at all? Nope, not going to fire? Okay, he's not going to shoot just yet. I would scream, like right now, this perfect opportunity to be really unloading rockets. And frankly, if you know where the Schwerpanzer headquarters is, you really could probably just unload on that headquarters area as well. But it doesn't seem like he's really too concerned about that. In the south, we will see Sturmpires facing off against Penal Battalion troops. And in super short range, they will have the better of that conflict. In the north, at the same time, we are going to see this Sturmgewehr, Vietnam armed Volks taking on the world, taking the territory really for themselves. And for some reason, still, where is he? Okay, it's the ISG firing rounds down range. Meantime, Katyusha fires its rounds super, super close, repeats 0 grouping, and takes out the machine gun as well as the crew itself. And with that assistance, the conscripts are able to get the middle of the map. But it's a little bit disconcerting when you realize that very, very soon there's going to be a Panther. And unfortunately for him too, that downtime, that 90-second downtime, it's like 90 seconds, 100 seconds, it's a huge amount of downtime between barrages. Conscript's going to slide it back around to the north, trying to see if they can take back some of these munition points. I'm really confused why he's not going for the PPS squads. I think it'd be a great idea. Volks with the STGs will just destroy conscript squads, and there goes a squad right there. And tightrope seems a little bit confused at the moment. What do I do? Where do I go? Tomorrow is another day, but I'm not sure it's going to be really the best idea for him. Penal battalion troops getting outflanked and forced to flee. They do decap that munitions point, but even then that's not even 100% in his favor. 386, 385 to 370 for the moment. Just a moment. The Soviets are going to have a drain on the field, but that's not going to last too long, mark my words. Especially as this Panther moves its way into the fray. T-34 is being called in, T-34-76, mind you, so not great armor penetration necessarily, but has potential to at least moderately duel with this Panther. Until that happens, though, there's only this T-70 and a Zis gun to really put any kind of pressure on the Panther, and if he goes and starts chasing for that Katyusha, then that's going to be bad news bears, but no, instead the Panther decides to pull back in the face of imminent fire. For some god-awful reason, that machine gun says, you know what, my machine gun was outdated even back in World War I. Why am I going to sit here and fire rounds at a tank? I don't know, because it's fun. To the north, we will find that Sturmpires are going to outflank and probably chase down this mortar squad quite a bit, hammering them, taking out all these models, but yep, going to decrew that bad boy right there.
We have lost our mortar team.
But that's okay. With that rapid conscription out and working, any kind of models getting dropped now will probably mean at least one more conscript squad. But it's not too much better. I mean, HighFive himself is able to bring another Sturmpire squad, and most of his troops are fairly vetted up. Where are those rockets going? Where are those rockets going? Ah, here we go. He's guessing to find out where that ISG is. Unfortunately for him, the greater range will mean that it's not going to be quite as accurate. The spread causing most of those rounds to miss. Though one or two did impact close enough to be kind of an issue. I am fascinated by how long this Rakettenwerfer has been there, though. The Rakettenwerfer's been there for probably the last 5 or 8 minutes, just chilling right there. These penal battalion troops are right on top of him. Look how much, honestly, look how much intel he's getting from just keeping his Raketten right there. He's got a fair amount of fog of war lifted just around the center part of the map. And frankly, if any... There we go, he finally sees it. So if any kind of tank comes forward, he will be able to start unloading on it. And that shape charge round does go hit the T-34-76 and forces it back to get a couple last second repairs, but is forced away in his own right. Now, 22:40 into the game, and we're going to have a German control of VPs. Not going to be too much of an issue necessarily in the short term, but you do notice that HighFive right now is calling in his last truck. With the last truck, that means he's going the King Tiger route, because really he doesn't need to have the actual mechanized regiment headquarters on the fray just right this second. It's really not necessary. Excuse me for a second, folks. I had to get myself a quick drink. Yeah, a strawberry Gatorade. Yuck. Oh, but you have to drink it if it's there, right? All right. Anyway, so down on the bottom, we're going to see that HighFive's keeping his troops fairly static, and that's going to be a problem because the Soviets are pushing back in the north, and although the ISG is firing rounds downrange, and even this Panther's coming in, oh good gosh, that's not going to be pretty at all now, is it? So little Katya decided to fire another rocket barrage. Unfortunately, she only really did a fair bit of damage, but not really killing the squads. Panther, in the meantime, is going to have these conscript squads in the flanks and force them to flee. Other conscript squad is going to be forced back as well. So, tightrope being chased around a little bit. He's definitely outgunned because of that Panther. He's not going to be outvetted necessarily, but doesn't mean his troops are necessarily in great shape either. I would wonder if maybe he should be considering putting in a couple of squads of these partisan tank hunters. It'd be kind of interesting. Hops on the field, he then would just kind of have like, oh look, here's a Shrek in your rear. There we go, bam, rear armor hit. He might even be able to get a nice couple of lucky rounds. T-70 in the meantime is going to get Fausted almost for sure. Yep, there's one Faust coming out. Damage engine. Another Faust coming out, going to get hammered still on this one. Yep, taken down to about 30-40% health. Sturmpire is being forced back though. Will we finally see a drop if he goes down that will be kind of a problem for him. That's still a fairly expensive hazard removal kit. And South, we are going to continue to see this mad charge by these Volks Grenadiers before finally realizing the folly of their move. And these Penal Battalion troops are finally fully vetted up. T-34-76 says, you know what, I want to get in on this bad boy. And takes a couple shots, but doesn't do a whole lot necessarily in the long term. In the north, Penal Battalion troops facing off against this Panther for some god-awful reason. In the south, the Volks fall back in the face. There's overwhelming firepower. And okay, a satchel charge is being used. How interesting. Okay, he does about 30-40% health on that Panther, just the satchel charge. And now, with the two T-34-76s, he has a chance to charge forwards, but not going to be a great one, now will it?
Supply sector under attack.
Okay, so will we see a barrage, a chance barrage of trying to take out anything he can barely not see? I don't know, but T-34s are going in for blood. Even if they don't find... Oh, there they go, they finally find it. Now, the question is he going to go and sacrifice both of his T-34s to take out the Panther? Now, if I were him, I definitely would. But then again, tightrope is probably a better player than I am. And another barrage is going to come out. It is looking for that ISG. Not sure it's going to happen necessarily. And maybe this Raketen might even blunder into a couple of these rounds as well. Yes, the Raketen is savaged by a single rocket. ISG is decrewed, and both T-34-76s make it out. Will this T-34 rush? Oh, come on, dude, that'd be perfect. Oh, man, never mind. He's not going to be able to grab it. He doesn't know how close he is to removing a huge threat for him. This machine gun up to the north, he knows how much of an issue he is. He's suppressing both conscript squads yet again, and these poor conscripts who have just been taken out of their homes and just want to do nothing but sit back at home and eat borscht and drink vodka. Jeez, poor guys. But the mortar does decide to help out their comrades, forcing back the vile machine gun. And indeed, he has another lease of life for another day. It is going to be a trip cap, though, for the Soviets. In the south, they will be having forced to fight back against this big rush between Sturmpire squads and two Sturmpire squads with their STGs. Oh, god gosh, you can see a 3-star vet. Get out of there, my friend. Oh, no, it's not going to happen. He's going to get picked off, isn't he? Yep. Losses for tightrope, unfortunately. A little concerned right now with that Panther up in the north. I can't blame him. Supported by these two squads of German infantry, I would say that tightrope is getting a little bit flabbergasted by the big rush that's happening here. And oh good golly, Miss Molly, it is going to be that 105 howitzer barrage, and there's a fair amount of munitions too when it got used, so yeah. 299 to 340 though. Tightrope still does have a bit of control of the map. It's just barely lucky for him though that he noticed all those smoke flares going down, the smoke grenades signaling that imminent barrage, imminent death that was bound to be shattered upon him. In the north, we're going to see combat engineers and STG armed Volks going to trade fire, but those combat engineers are just not going to do well, guys. I mean, 3 guys armed with rifles against semi-automatic weapons, not going to go too well. In the south, the T-70 looks like he's going to try to be marauding around for some more kills, and frankly, if he gets lucky, he could really savage this group. Takes out one model already. Doesn't do as much damage as he could have. Good gosh, those guys were in negative cover. It was screaming, kill them. Penal Battalion troops being forced back by this vicious incendiary grenade, violating the Geneva Conventions in all the ways but none. And the two T-34s seem a little bit confused. Like, where do we go? What do we do? I don't know. I'm not you. About 30 minutes in, what do we have? All we have is Stukosafus coming out. In my mind, Stukosafus is a completely and totally worthless piece of equipment right now until it gets buffed. Oh wait, no, sorry, I was thinking Panzerwerfer. Never mind, Stukosafus I'm totally okay with. These barrages are just scary, devastating. 28 centimeter. So as big as the Katyusha rounds are, the German rounds are twice as big, and then some. And despite what she told you, size does matter. Panther going to come up to the north and is trying to maraud around again, and it just continues to seem that Tightrope doesn't entirely know where to deploy his anti-armor assets. I continue to say that he should be making the anti-tank partisans. Sadly, he's not listening to me. It might be because he can't hear me, but it's definitely a possibility either way. I think he's just bitter right now. This gun chilling in the middle part of the field, just waiting for a tank to obligingly walk across its gun sights, but now here comes the walking Stuka barrage, and it takes out the Zisgun. Like that, and I just snapped my fingers. Not sure you could hear that one or not. Machine gun, in the meantime, is being forced away. So are the Penal troops in the middle part of the map. The combination of the Volksgrens and that Stuka-Safus just to terrify the Soviets. A brutal, brutal attack. And was that just an entire squad wiped out? Yeah, I think the Germans just lost their own squad viciously due to like a single shot from that T-34. This dude, not one-to-one kill. I don't think it was him. I may be wrong. Raketin continues to land shots down on the T-34, but does decide to back away intelligently, I might add, leaving the center part of the map loosely in control of the Russians. And actually, now that I think about it, nearly everything for the Germans is back in base. He's lost a couple of squads here. He has still fairly vetted up mainline infantry, but there's not a lot of it. He's got the 2 squads of Pios, but those guys really are not supposed to be infantry first. They're infantry second. And 2 squads of Volks are 5-star veterans, but it still doesn't mean that they're in great shape. Penal Battalion troops going to take firepower over here from this Panther, and not going to care. They're instead going to start laying down the smackdown on those Sturmpios rushing away. And about time, 32 minutes into this game, we finally see the first PPS upgrade for Tightrope's troops. And I'm really concerned that he wasn't going to do it at all. But now he can get up close and personal with the Sturmpios for one, and really devastate them. Of course, then again, his Penal Battalion troops are just having a field day at the moment already. Shockingly enough, oh no, Stuka-Safus barrage comes down again. Doesn't do much, but it does take out a fair amount of health, but doesn't kill anything. Question really is, though, is he going to fire back with his Katyusha? I don't know. I think it'd be kind of amusing. I wonder what kind of damage they could do to each other. I imagine the Stuka-Safus barrage will take out a Katyusha, and I'm pretty sure I've seen that happen. But firing the Katyusha back at the Stuka-Safus, I mean, Stuka-Safus is an open-topped half-track. I would argue it could be devastating, but that's just me. Zisgun charging forward, trying to take a very, very advanced position. Not a great plan, but with the 3 T-34s in reserve backing it up, maybe he's okay to do so. But yet again, there is still this fog of war Raketin that just sees way too much, and able just to calmly put fire on top of these T-34s. Time to back away, my friends. There we go. One is savaged, and another barrage comes in, takes out the garrison, and the Jaeger Lights are definitely getting hurt by this. The question is, will the Raketin escape without getting slain? And it looks like he will, just barely. Jaeger Lights have managed to avoid death as well. Question is, will that squad of Volksgrens make it out? And he will. Panther comes up, takes a shot, and forces that last T-34 away. In the meantime, though, that still continues that 2-to-1 cap that exists for the Soviets. 34 minutes and 5 seconds in, 282 to 270. Though Tightrope has been losing ground now and again, he seems like he's got a handle on it now. 30 army supply lead. HighFive definitely doesn't have the army comp to really deal with everything that's facing him. Now this T-70 is here to really be a pain in the rear end and just almost wreck face with what amounts to a light cannon. Now, if I were him, I would try to take out that Raketin Puffer that is right there in the center part of the map, where the window is centered right now. But I guess he's more concerned about the Panther moving up to the north and shattering his delicate vehicle. He has managed to make it all the way to 3 stars of veterancy. 1 of 5 House of Barrage. Where's that coming down? There it goes. Maxim's going to be forced away by the threat of imminent death. And although the Germans will seem to pick up... Yikes. A predictive barrage coming down but not doing a whole lot. In fact, I don't think it actually even killed anybody. Unless they got atomized. Nope, there were no kills on that one.
Enemy forces
Coupled with the 105, it's just particles in every direction. No, but that 3 stars of veterancy on that T-70 is not easy, especially 35 minutes into the game with a heavy tank on the fray, like that Panther. You would expect super, super quick death. Center part of the field, we see Strom piles coming in, decapping that munitions point, but still, things are still technically in supply. I kind of want these conscripts to rush forwards and really put the smackdown on the Strom piles, but it's not going to happen. Instead, we will see another chance engagement happening between conscripts and Strom piles up in the north, and otherwise seeing the Soviets push back in moderate disarray in the face of that supporting Panther. Now, the Soviet armored spear tip notices yet again that he's got the perfect opportunity to really be taking out a couple of these anti-tank guns. Doesn't seem to be too concerned about doing so. Instead, oh, there we go, a prioritized vehicle. It is the beginning of someone that's going to die, I'm sure of it. Kind of wondering why the T-34 doesn't decide just to ram it. He's got like no health left. I think it'd be a great idea right about now. Not perfect, mind you, but at least he'll sacrifice his life for the Rodina worthwhile. And at the moment, if he hasn't done so, instead they just keep bouncing rounds like crazy. T-34s not able to penetrate. Instead, we just see that Panther calmly back away. Okay, now where's he going to be firing? It looks like he's firing probably over in this area. Yep, looking for that machine gun. First salvo of rockets comes in. Second salvo of rockets comes in. Takes down nearly all of them. Doesn't quite kill everybody, though. So unlucky for that Katyusha. Doing pretty much all of the damage that he wanted to do, just not getting all the effect. Now, Stuka's Fus Barrage comes back in turn, and will he take out the Katyusha? No, the Katyusha manages to slide away just in time. Beautiful, beautiful predictive move right there. And that's always to make sure with indirect fire units is that when your opponent knows you just fired from, then that's a decent bit of knowledge right there. You have to move your troops as soon as you fire. Conscripts, Peanut Battalion troops is what I meant to say. In the north, capping out this third VP yet again, and the Volkskrans, the last surviving squad of Volkskrans, the brave, brave veterans from aeons before, are moving forward and are trying to cap out center part of the map, and they probably will do so. But I wouldn't hang around there. Not worth the effort. In the south, we're going to see again the Sturmpire troop just rushing forwards, and the SDGs doing work. Kind of wondering if these conscripts really should be as aggressive as they are, especially when they're negative cover. And indeed, we're going to see that more of these troops are being replaced by conscript squads. You see right now it's a 101 supply for tightrope. His not abuse of the mechanic, but using that squad conscription, we'll see him going over that unit cap. In fact, he won't even be able to reinforce his squads until just now. We're dropping a couple of units here. Now, Su-76 in the fray, plus T2 T-34s. I understand in theory why he did this, but the Su-76 against, well, anything, will get hammered like crazy. But maybe this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to draw out the Panther by hammering the Schwer Panzer headquarters. The Su-76 might buy it. And in fact, I'm guessing he's going to just, starts to back away. There we go. The Schwer Panzer headquarters is going to go down just a second here. There it goes. Panther comes in and realizes he's not going to get there until too late. And this might be the beginning of where HighFive really makes a mistake. Okay, Su-76 gets picked off by recruited for Ketten in the north, but that's really not too bad. He's got the fuel to replace it. HighFive, for his own part, doesn't really have the industry in place to keep churning out vehicles. Tightrope does. And some a fact that becomes horribly apparent. Rocket barrage coming down the center part of the map, I imagine. Yep. Yep. Beautiful barrage right there. Oh no. Oh no. That is what he does have the industry for, though. King Tiger, baby. T-70 coming up when he's going between combat mode and capture mode. And he's probably even going to go down because that King Tiger is an absolute brute. At the moment, there's not enough AT on the field, I don't think, for the Soviets to really even kind of combat this one. There will be a 1-to-1 cap, but doesn't mean HighFive's got the better of things either. I mean, tickets are still very much in Tightrope's favor, and I imagine will continue to be so for the next several minutes. Like I said, the question really is whether or not this King Tiger can get a massive, massive effect in the immediate future. 2-to-1 cap's going to be happening for the Germans. No way it's going to be happening for the Soviets, it does look like. Until, of course, that Panther comes up to the north and the, quote, medium tank of the German army will completely and totally savage these poor, poor conscripts. Ziska trying to get line of sight on that Panther and does so. T-70 looking to really keep his attacking Volks at arm's length. Not sure it's going to happen, though. I think the Ziska, yep, does get decrewed. And now we're going to see a huge, huge infantry assault happening in the center part of the map. A mad attack. And now with rockets coming in, that entire blob is going to get hammered. Luckily for him, I say him, I mean Tightrope. Luckily for him, that rocket barrage was not as predictive as it could have been. Katyusha barrage coming in over here, trying desperately to take out this Raketin, which has now claimed another T-34 of the motherlands. And it doesn't do so. Oh, there we go. Finally it goes off. But both Raketins are up here in the north. And then finally, an anti-tank grenade comes out. T-34-76, though, against the Panther, a single one, mind you. Single T-34, that is. And shockingly, somehow, this Panther is not hitting with anything. But if the King Tiger gets his way, it's going to be, oh gosh, one more hit. Rear armor hit, and no more shot. Should take it out. It being a T-34. No, he survives. He is still gasping at glimpses of gentle, true spirit. I was listening to Crosby, Stills, and Nash before. And he takes out the Panther, but not before taking a round through the glacis from the King Tiger. A huge, huge loss for the Soviets, because right now they don't have any more vehicles on the field other than that T-70. That guy's going to get destroyed in a second. Be dead in a heartbeat, my friends. And yet again, we see another barrage coming out in the center part of the field, looking for that mortar, not finding it. Still, that thing manages to survive for just another bit of time. Jaegers come up, take one look at that. It's just going to go, nah, I don't want that. And the KT just blows a hole through it. 144 to 266. Right now, the Soviets don't control the map. It's very much an Axis-controlled map. But that's only by the barest of margins. The Sturmpyos, there's 2 squads left. There's only 1 squad of Volksgrenadiers. Still, the Jaeger Lights are on the map, and they're decent troops, don't get me wrong. But really, if Tightrope can get any kind of effective engagement, he's going to be in an amazing, amazing position. Now, my concern about this, too, is that this infantry push is going to be coming in just about the time that another rocket barrage can be called in. So, what I might suggest doing for Tightrope is to just accept the losses, suck it up, and try to claim this territory as quickly as possible. Another Katyusha barrage, and I imagine a Stukas of Fußballon will be oncoming shortly. Machine gun might get taken out. And finally, there we go, and we actually see the Volksgrenadiers get picked off in the north as well. T-70 will probably sacrifice its life to the KT. But his life was not given in vain. Another 105 barrage coming in, and rockets being thrown down. So between the two, there's a couple of Russian squads that get hammered pretty hardcore, but Rapid Conscription will see those losses paid. Not so much with interest, but being kind of put back into the fray. These concepts are charging forward, so I'm wondering if it's just going to start spamming out anti-tank grenades. I think it'd be a great idea at this moment.
Fresh conscripts have arrived.
Grenade, my friend, grenade. SU-85 slides forward and just puts up a shot right into that giant wood pile. Not really a whole lot of line of fire that you can really do anything about, though. And Sturmpio's charging forward, trying desperately to find some way to maybe take out the Katyusha, to maybe take out anything. Not entirely sure what he can do at this point, though. 45-32, 128 to 237. It's a 2-0 cap. It's going to be a trip cap in any second here. There we go. That's the trip cap. And the captured Raketin now is out for the Soviets. And the Germans are quite up against it. The King Tiger, or so I say the K Tiger or the King T, trying to get some sort of actual effect happening here, but it doesn't look too easy. SU-85 putting shots into it, and although it does bounce occasionally, the additional T-34-76 that can kind of come in behind it and harry it to death would be kind of good for him. Damaged engine as well. The conscript squad goes down, but not before managing to do the dirty. SU-85 in the meantime is trying to keep his other T-34 from perishing. Doesn't look like it's going to be too easy. His KT though is probably not going to survive to celebrate his victory. He is limping away, trying desperately to get back, but a damaged engine, and the thing is that big. That engine gave it like maybe 10 miles an hour speed over country. You can see that happen right there, just taken out. T-34-76, a replacement one, not the one to be concerned with, one we just saw, comes forward looking for any kind of target he can manage. Trip cap still for the Soviets, and I'm kind of wondering, turn around, my friend, turn around. Go after. There we go, he sees him now. Question is, will we see the death of the Flak Panzer? I don't know. I don't know. It's not going to be too long yet on this map to go. The Flak Panzer will be able to be pushed away, and Jaegers themselves are going to come onto the map as well. But SU-85 in the area, and now an anti-grenade has been successfully thrown onto the Ostwind. Between T-34 and the SU-85, SU-85 slams around into it, and the T-34 probably take it out with one more round from either target. Yep, he's brewed up, he's going out. And now we're going to see some rockets coming in as well from the Katyusha. The Jaegers desperately trying to stave off imminent defeat. But it's not going to be easy, my friends. Shockingly, the Jaegers are able to make it out alive. In the north, though, the less veteran squad might have a harder time at doing things. And indeed, the Katyusha is actually setting up way in the north. Very, very far in the north. A vehicle under attack. Okay. Now we're fine.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
So despite having a massive infantry advantage, it seems that tightrope is not quite able to successfully seize the 3 VPs. He's going to have 2 of them in a few seconds here. But that's still not going to be a quick victory. Kind of surprised we haven't seen actually even a tap out just yet. HighFive is certainly up against it. He's got half the army supply of his opponent, and he's got to know it too. He's going to get savaged by everything that's on the map. Let's put it this way. There are 6 main battle infantry squads for the Soviets. Now, if you were being extremely generous, the Germans have 5. And if you're being less generous, the Germans have 3. So between all these particular infantry squads on the map, and I'm kind of wondering why, again, tightrope, there we go, to slide down to the south and pick up this last VP.
Victory is in our grasp.
Kind of wondering why he wasn't going to be more aggressive about that. Now, does he get one more barrage off 5 seconds? He should be able to do it pretty easily. Question is, where? And will he predict it correctly? That's the even more important question. But 21 to 228, it looks like that's going to be pretty much it for this game. 28 kills on Stukosafus, pretty decent killer. based against that Katyusha, a much more effective one, certainly. Let's see at least one more barrage thrown off. Come on. And now Tightrope, who's been swimming in munitions all game, is just going to start throwing down any bit of munitions, like mine, stuff like that he can. The rockets are going to come in, and the question is where he's going to put it. Nope. Nope. He misses it just barely. And we see a nice little beautiful last momentary spot shot freeze frame explosion. But the final score is going to be 0-228, so Tightrope is able to pick up the big W against HighFive. HighFive, I thought, had a pretty good shot there for a bit of time. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to kind of carry it through to the late game, and that big deep dive by the T-34s, supported by that Zis gun for just a short time to take out this bad boy up in the north. Where is that wreckage? Let's see, that's the building, that's that. There we go. Taking out the Shrapnel headquarters was definitely a turning point in this game. Nevertheless, well done to both players. Guys, I'm going to take a little bit of a break here. I'm sure I'm going to get some more material out for you. But for the time being, this is Con Ulrich signing off. You all take it easy. Have a great day.